What's up, and welcome to Nighttime at the Nerd Bar, episode 48? What? Two away from 50.
No, what? No.
Woo! Yes, we are back live. Thank you for everyone who tuned in last week. And if you missed that one, it's kind of an evergreen episode. So it's if you want something spooky, spoopy, we hooked you up. A lot of topics and movies and shows on that. Go check that out if you haven't seen it. But we are live today, bringing you Monday energy and time change energy. It's just, it's one of those yeah.
I went to finals on Friday and I still haven't recovered. So thank God this coming Friday is a day off, at least at my job. You know, happy future Veterans Day to all the veterans out there. We appreciate your service. Yeah, I'm going to use it to just lie on the floor and refuse to move. Because we're seeing Black Panther the night before. We have Thursday night tickets. So Friday's just going to be like, nah.
Nice. We got a couple people in the live chat. So if you're in the live chat, join us, which we'll get to that one moment. Because first things first, we should introduce ourselves. What's up? I'm Carrie Lane.
I'm Katie Cullen.
Yes, and let's get to our live chat. So if you're watching this live, join us in the live chat. And if you're watching later, no worries, comment down below. We got Giga Derek saying, yay, it's Monday. Oh, we appreciate that energy.
I will accept that only in the context of you're doing a show on Monday, because Monday is usually like, oh God, I have to get up.
Right. Well, speaking of that, though, Charles Darcy says that extra hour of sleep was awesome. If you got that extra hour of sleep, awesome. I wasn't able to sleep in the same way I wanted, but that's okay.
Yeah, well, if you have a pet who's fed at a certain time of day.
My pet's like, what are you talking about, time change? No.
Oh, yeah. Winter woke me up at 7:30 a.m. on Sunday. Like, where is my breakfast? Like, you're early even for normal. Stop it.
Yes.
I love her very much. My ridiculous cat.
Yes. Well, we got to love our fur babies for sure.
I love our little nerds.
Even if they're punk butts sometimes. Yes. So we have a bunch of news to cover and which is news that we're excited about. So let's get into things we are excited about. So one of the big things, which is linked in the description, tied to it, One Piece Film Red came out over the weekend, and it earned an impressive $9.3 million at the U.S. box office. So it's the second largest opening of the weekend. So round of applause for them. That's awesome.
It knocked Black Adam out of the #1 spot. That's not an easy. It is a superhero movie. It is a vehicle by The Rock. Like, that's not an easy movie to unseat.
Yeah.
And here we are.
And the cool thing I was saying in the description, we have interviews with the cast from the dub premiere, which was at the Animations Film Festival. So you can find that playlist, which you will find other interviews that both Katie and I did at the Animations Film Festival. So there's a lot of those. And then there's a separate One Piece playlist for those interviews, as well as a press junket with additional cast members who weren't able to be at the premiere. So if you're a One Piece fan, check that out.
Just looking at those, because they'll show up in my subscription feed. The one you did with Matt Mercer, the fact that the still frame, that the thumbnail is just his expression is amazing, because that is his hang on, we're pondering expression. And I'm just like, I love this. I love this so much.
Yay!
So like
that might have been a teaser for those of you, which if you're on we have a TikTok. Fanversation has a TikTok. So if you're on TikTok, go check out Fanversation. I'm there as well, so find me too.
Yes.
But I posted, I need to double check if I post on the Fanversation Instagram, but I asked the cast, what would their character wear for Halloween? And so I think that was Matt Mercer's moment of like, wait a minute, I have to think about this, which was very entertaining.
Deep pondering.
Yes. Pulling back to the live chat, Giga Derek goes, Monday before my 3-day weekend. Oh, nice.
Fair. So speaking of One Piece Red, this is slightly in the past at this point, because November 4th is a few days ago, but Steve Aoki has released an all-new remix for the One Piece Red original soundtrack. So that has dropped. Do the thing, win the stuff. It is available for purchase, and if you have never listened to a Steve Aoki remix, treat yourself. He's amazing. We were fortunate enough to go to his One Piece Red themed concert at Anime Expo. I actually have, hiding back here, the wristband.
Yay!
Still awesome. Have this. I managed to sneak that off over my wrist somehow.
Somewhere.
But it was absolutely incredible. He is a giant nerd like the rest of us. And so many of his remixes, he did Pokemon, he did several One Piece pieces, he did all sorts of fun stuff. He was incredible.
It's making me want to check that. I'm like, I think on my Instagram I posted part of that live, so go check that out.
It's the Straw Hat Pirates Anthem Steve Aoki remix.
It was so good. So
and
I
it
can't
is
wait to hear it
available. It is available
too,
for purchase and for stream.
Yay!
So do the thing, because that just seriously, if you've never listened to a Steve Aoki remix, treat yourself. He's incredibly good.
Mm-hmm.
And his concerts are buck wild.
Yes.
Like, was not aware. The cake. Just the cake. Man alive.
Yes.
So yeah, good times. Good times, good times, good times. All right.
And we got John Knight real quick in the chat. Hi, Carrie and Katie. Hello, John Knight. Hello.
What's up, dude?
All right. And then that was our One Piece big news.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you had something up next.
I did. Oh my God, this sounds so much fun, and I wish I could go. If you are going to Anime NYC in New York, Crunchyroll is throwing an anime Y2K party. It is a 90s nostalgia-filled mix experience, is what they're calling it.
Woo!
They'll dress Terminal 5 in the aesthetics and soundscapes of 1999 for a celebration of anime and music with the Crunchyroll Anime Y2K party on Saturday, November 19th. Partygoers will be transported into a slice of Akihabara Tokyo nightclub scene circa the 1990s with live music, supercharged trailers of current anime series, photo ops, and games. With DJs D Yama, DJ Wild Party, Teddy Lloyd, and JVNA. I'm not going to pretend to know how to pronounce that.
Giga says, I'll be there. Awesome.
Oh, dude, have fun.
Take pictures and tag us. We'll reshare.
Because they've sent us 2 different concert things, and one of them was in Northern California, and the other one's in New York, and it's like, do them in LA. They're even taking the Dragon Ball live concert up to Canada. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, that might have already come and gone, because I think we got that announcement like 3rd week of October, so before Halloween. So that may have already come and gone, but like if you're in Canada and you want to see Dragon Ball live, it might be coming to a city near you. Highly recommended. But yeah, they keep doing all of these musical experiences, and I'm like, put one in LA. You get the Steve Aoki concert. I know, I want another one. Do another one. Do it out here.
I want more. Yes.
Take over Club Nokia. It's no longer called Club Nokia. I don't care. Take over. Let's go.
Yes.
It's a good time. So yes, please give me all of your 90s anime music experiences. Oh my God. The dance remix to Cruel Angel Thesis. Let's go. So yeah, if you're in New York City for Anime New York, check that out. That sounds like a blast. And it looks like it's a separately ticketed event and the tickets are going through AXS. So it's entirely possible that you will not need a convention badge to attend this. I would recommend looking at the tickets and making sure of that.
Then more close to your home, coming to Crunchyroll in November. So we are here in November. There's going to be some movies coming. So we got Sword Art Online, the movie Progressive, which if you're an SAO fan, that one is a must watch because it is like a prequel and it's a lot of like what was Asuna like before or at the beginning of all of that, as well as an introduction of a new character. It's very well done with English dub, which is, it's all your favorites back. And again, if you're an SAO fan, of course, go check it out. It's gorgeous. Also, Aria of the Starless Night, Laid Back Camp, the movie. Oh, sorry, that was a long title. Fun. And then Laid Back Camp, the movie, as well as Psycho-Pass, the movie. So there's quite a few. I was trying to see if there's any other. Oh, here we go. Sorry. The 17th, we got King of Thorn, Origins, Spirit of the Past, Psycho-Pass the movie. The 24th, so right before Thanksgiving, that's the Sword Art Online, the movie Progressive, Aria of a Starless Night. There we go. Nice. As well as Laid Back Camp, the movie. So check those out on Crunchyroll and and then subbed and dubbed made vary per title. So just, check before you watch it. Yeah.
If you are a Crunchyroll premium subscriber, if you've got the tippy top tier and you are traveling for the holiday and you've got your computer or your tablet or whatever, the tippy top tier lets you download things and watch them offline. So things that I have used for plane rides before, back when I used to be a Verve subscriber. So yeah, if you've got that level of subscription, or if you just want to do that level of subscription for a couple months when it's travel heavy, highly recommended. Works really well for plane rides. Make sure you know what you're getting into before you watch it on a plane, and keep in mind that there are children around.
You're like,
I've made some mistakes. I was like, hey, I'll try out Food Wars. I hear that's good. Not on a plane.
Fun
Not on a
but
plane.
Yeah, not with mixed crowd, and you're
Not-
like, "Ooh, sorry."
Oh boy, oh buddy, oh boy, that was. Mob Psycho
So
worked out
nobody-
really well for that.
You didn't know
Overlord
at all
worked out
that-
really well for that.
Okay.
I got a few minutes into Food Wars, and then I went, okay,
Yeah,
I'm not
and
comfortable having this on a screen with people walking by. No. It's the same reason I won't wear t-shirts with swear words on them. It's like, I can control how I say it, but if I'm wearing it, there's not a lot of,
Fair.
it's exposing someone to something without their choice. So it's
Yes.
like, just be aware of what you're watching on planes. If you don't care, that's up to you, but I care.
Side note on that, which I'm like not quite long enough for a tangent corner, but I was gonna say fun memory. I remember watching Madoka Magica when that first was coming out during Thanksgiving, because there was a lot of like downtime after everybody like gone to take naps or whatever. And like I remember specifically watching that laptop. So sometimes holiday time, if you need to, you step aside. Anime is a good distraction.
Oh yeah, I got through most of the first season of Mob Psycho over Thanksgiving break. Plane 2, plane from, and then no, I need to finish this. So Mob Psycho, highly recommended. Speaking of things to entertain you while you are on, while you're traveling, provided that you're not the one doing the driving. If you're driving, please drive safely.
Yeah.
Crunchyroll Games is releasing Eminence in Shadow, the Master Garden, based on the anime Eminence in Shadow. So if you are into mobile games, sign up for this. There will be a demo at the Anime NYC booth, at the Crunchyroll Games booth at Anime NYC as well from I'm having a day, guys. From November 18th to 20th. So the launch for the game is November 29th. It is free to play, and it's available across mobile devices and PC. So do the thing, win the stuff. If you are into mobile RPGs, here's a new one for you. Looks like fun. If you are into Eminence in Shadow, here's a game based on the anime. Should be a good time. And if you just need another game to take up some hours in your life and something you really want to get sucked into and play, here you go, November 29th.
Yay! Yes. I think that covers it for our news.
I think it does.
Which we have the exciting other kind of news. Overwatch, which is part of your theme right now.
Oh yeah, a Shameless Symmetra main shirt. I made this myself.
Oh wait, hold on. Let's see if I can take it down for a second. There you go.
Yep, Shameless Symmetra main. Back when being a Symmetra main was a bad thing to be. Back when we had 4 categories and damage was still its own. Yeah. Way back in the halcyon days of OG Overwatch, before roll lock. Oh my god.
I'm like,
so
sure.
This is going to be our final segment of Overwatch League as an anime for a while, because last week was the season 5 finals. It was the play-ins, it was the finals tournament, and like I said, I went to the in-person games in Anaheim on the 5th, so I was able to watch the losers bracket final and the final match. My god, the play was so much. It was so good. First of all, congratulations to the Dallas Fuel for taking home their first season title. They've taken home some mid-season tournaments before, but this is their first season championship, and it was very hard fought. They went to a full 7 maps, which has never happened in the final match of a season championship before, against the San Francisco Shock, who were also playing out of their minds and doing their best to get a three-peat, as they are the champions of season 2 and season 3. They were looking to add season 5 to that. It did not work out for them, but it went all the way to a map 7, and it was absolutely bonkers to watch. And our bronze medal on the podium is the Houston Outlaws. You guys, we did great. So much for my prediction for Gladiators to take it all. Turns out that Dallas and San Francisco decided that this would be a great time to play out of their minds. And after Houston knocked San Francisco into the losers bracket on day 2, San Francisco made a completely crazy run through the losers bracket, taking out the Gladiators, the Shanghai Dragons, and underdog favorites, the Hangzhou Spark, who really, really worked well with this finals meta, because with the addition of Kiriko and with some adjustments, it became a Winston meta. And Gushui, who is the tank for the Spark, is a ridiculously good Winston player. Like, we've known this for a bit, but it's been a hot second since we've had a Winston meta. So the Spark went from winning the play-in to having to do play-ins, beating out 3 other teams in the APAC region, coming in at like the 12th, 11th or 12th seed towards the bottom of this particular competition, and made it all the way to the losers semifinals. Like, they worked really hard. They knocked some difficult teams into the bottom bracket, and then they ran pretty far in the bottom bracket themselves when they got knocked down there, only to be taken out by the Shock, who took out the Outlaws and then lost to Dallas. Dallas did not drop a game. So again, congratulations to the Dallas Fuel. If you're a Fuel fan, you've been here for a long time. Congrats on this. Well earned. And our MVP for the finals was Fearless, who is a tank for the Dallas Fuel. Hanbin has been the tank getting all the attention. He's an amazing Zarya. He's a very good tank in general. Fearless is an extremely good Winston tank. And Fearless started his career in the Overwatch League 5 years ago on the Shanghai Dragons. And for those who are like, oh, Shanghai Dragons, good team. You've been talking them up a lot. Season 1, Shanghai Dragons literally lost every game they played. They have a 0-40 record for Season 1. Literally no other team has gone with no wins through an entire season. Everyone has managed to pick up at least one, but that first season Shanghai Dragons team was extremely rough, and that is where Fearless started his Overwatch League career. And now in Season 5, he is playing out of his mind on the Dallas Fuel in a Winston meta and takes home finals MVP. Like, congratulations to Fearless. It's been a very long journey, and it is well deserved. We also had a number of awards given out. Overwatch League has what they call role stars, people to watch and people who have performed well in their specific roles. The role stars this year for tank position are Dallas Fuel's Hanbin, we mentioned him. Missing teams. Seoul Dynasty's Smurf. London Spitfire's Hottie. We've talked about Hottie here. Hottie the Chad, or Chadi. And LA Gladiators Reiner. So those are our tank role stars. Our support role stars are LA Gladiators Shu. Shu has been unbelievably good this season. He's kind of an unholy terror in the support role. Dallas Fuel's Fielder, Shanghai Dragons Izayaki, and Dallas Fuel's Chio. And then our role stars for damage, our DPS role stars, are LA Gladiators Kevster, Shock, wow. San Francisco Shock's Proper, and we're going to get back to Proper in a minute. Shanghai Dragons Lip, and Seoul Dynasty's Prophet. It is not surprising to see Prophet as a role star for DPS. Prophet is another one who has been in the league for 5 seasons and has been playing absolutely out of his mind. He's the sort of player like Prophet, Fleta, Merit, Proper, players like this, Edison really did this. He's on the Dallas Fuel. Players like this are players that are capable of what is known as a deadlift. And a deadlift is when, in any given match, a single player has more than half of the team's combined kills. So if you have 20 kills, so if you've got 20 total kills on the team and 10 of them come from one person, that's a deadlift. That is a very difficult thing to do, and that is something that standout players are capable of. So when you hear, hey, these people are role stars, most of them are capable of deadlifts on their chosen hero. We also had our usual spate of awards, such and such of the year. Coach of the year went to Christopher on the London Spitfire. Because, guys, we've been talking about the Spitfire all season. They've had a really rough time since season one. Season one was a banger of a season for them. They walked away as the champions. And then they've just had a difficult time. They've had roster switch ups, they've had coaching switch ups. It's not been an easy time for them. They did extremely well. It was just upward slope this entire season. No one expected this of the London Spitfire, and they did an incredible job. So this recognition of Christopher as a coach to be able to bring his team up like that goes hand in hand with the winner of the Dennis Havelka Award. The Dennis Havelka Award is a sportsmanship award named after an esports player, Dennis Havelka, who also went by Internet Hulk, who was just known for being a lovely human being, generally speaking. And the Dennis Havelka Award is for players who bring up their team. It's for leadership. It's for morale. And the winner this year, Chadi. Hadi on the London Spitfire, our main tank player, who has just been a shining star this entire season. A lot of fun to watch on and off the field, and a very deserving winner. We also have, like I said, we'd get back to Proper, and we're getting back to Proper because Proper is the winner of Rookie of the Year, which is not a surprise. He has been a standout player on the San Francisco Shock. He is the first person to take both Rookie of the Year and MVP. No one has done that before. So keep an eye on Proper. He is going to be, I don't know what the state of his contract is. I would imagine the Shock would do everything they can to keep a hold of this kid, but he is absolutely incredible. Plays out of his mind. Has done more than one deadlift just this past week. I believe just this past week. He's definitely one of those deadlift sort of players. And he's also the sort of player who can walk into a fight and turn the entire thing around just by being there and playing his best. So for Proper to take both of those awards is pretty crazy. And it is also, again, well-deserved. They've been talking about him all season for very good reason. And I know this segment has gone on for a little bit. I'm going to editorialize for a minute here, because it's my segment and I can, and I'm not getting another one of these for like 6 months. So I want to talk about being a Houston Outlaws fan. And I want to talk to, if there are any watching, the Houston Outlaws fans who maybe this is your first season, maybe you've been around for a bit. We're going to have a little history lesson because the Outlaws have had a very rough Overwatch League history. This team has basically been cursed. We've had a fairly solid first season, which is when I hopped on because I still insist they have the best graphic design and color palette in the league. Fight me. But they also had the only openly LGBTQ representation, the only openly LGBTQ player in the league on their team, their tank Muma, who is no longer playing in the league. And people at the Blizzard Arena, there were a number of Outlaws fans. I tended to sit with them. They were pretty great. So sure, I'll cheer for the Outlaws. Sounds like fun. Season 2 was when Outlaws lost their ownership, and for a while there did not have ownership and did not have any funding, like players paying for their own lifts to the arena did not have any funding. Season 2 was also when GOATS was the meta, and we don't talk about that. We don't talk about Bruno. That's a problem. I know there were people out there who like GOATS. I was not one of them. Season 3, when we moved every team to their home city and wanted to do a bunch of homestands and flying teams to one another, they moved out to Houston and were very quickly evicted from the house they'd moved into because the homeowners association did not want a team house in their neighborhood. It was nothing that they did. It was the people around them going, boy, that sure is a lot of young men in that house. We don't want to, that's going to be a party house. We don't want to deal with it. So nothing that they did, but they got evicted. They went to one of the first homestands they were playing in and the airline lost their luggage. And then COVID happened. So it's been a rough time to be an Outlaws fan. I make jokes about how it's always interesting rooting for them. And even this season, where we've had such an amazing season, this is a season where our very first match was against the Dallas Fuel. It was live in front of a Dallas crowd on LAN, and we rolled out with Dante, playing a tank role, Dante, who had been DPS for a very long time, playing Doomfist, who had only just recently been reconfigured into a tank. So we have Dante on Doomfist, on tank, and we took out the Dallas Fuel 3-0 at home in front of their home crowd. That was our first match of the season. And then San Francisco ran over us the next day, but that's life. San Francisco does that a lot. This is the season where we've had some incredible highs, and we also created the term Houstonable. If winnable means that the chips are down, things are bad, but you can still make it, Houstonable means everything is going your way, but you can still fuck it up. We did that. We did that enough to make it a term. It's like C9 being named after the Cloud9 team. You don't want that named after you, but here we are. So cheering for Houston is always a wild one. Supporting Houston is always a wild one. And if you've only been here for this season, you can see that it's kind of a wild one. And maybe you're a little disappointed that, we made it all the way to the finals, but we didn't make it all the way there. We're not champions. I've been a fan of this team for 5 years. It has been very difficult sometimes to be a fan of this team. We've had a season of pretty high highs right now, but through our tenure in the league, we've had some pretty low lows. So I'm looking at this season and going, this has been amazing. This has been our most cohesive team. This has been some of our best coaching. This has been some pretty good metas for us. Let's be real. Overwatch 2 as a game has treated us fairly well. Not only did we make it into this finals tournament, we made it onto the podium. The last time we got anywhere close to that was making it to third place in one of the stage finals in season 1. It has been a very long, very difficult run, and I am so proud of this team. I am so happy to be a Houston fan, to be able to go down to Anaheim wearing their colors, knowing that we have a chance at the finals, we have a chance at the trophy, and that the worst we can do is a bronze medal, and that we'll still be on the podium, and that we made it to the finals when so many teams were not able to do that for one reason or another. This has been an absolutely incredible season to be a Houston Outlaws fan, especially if you've been a Houston Outlaws fan for a while. So I'm proud of us. I'm proud of the team. And I can't wait to see next season. And I hope all y'all Houston fans out there who watch this, listen to this, I hope you're feeling the same way or something similar. I hope that you can also be proud of this team that has worked so hard and come so far and done so well. I am so, so proud of the Outlaws. Ante up. Let's go.
When does the next segment
We don't know. No idea.
I think you kind of mentioned that before, but I couldn't recall.
I made a joke about it being 6 months, but it has been extremely variable, especially with COVID being a thing and them having to kind of reconfigure how they do LAN matches versus how they do everything online. Yeah. We have no idea. We will hear that. We'll hear that at some point, and then I'm sure we already have dates in place for when players can be released, for when players can start being picked up, for when contracts expire, for when people become available. And Contenders is still playing. Like, Korean Contenders went on last night and is going on again tonight. They've got a fun little run going right now. They're a ton of fun to watch. We had, I think it was O1 and Talon Esports last night playing each other, which is a banger match for Contenders. So there's always Contenders players up and coming. There's always someone to keep an eye on, because Reiner was playing in Contenders for years, and then the Glads picked him up. Like, this is where we pick up a bunch of players. I've mentioned before, Paris Eternal, Luke Mino, and Rack Attack, that support duo, they came up from Contenders. So if you want a preview of who you might see in the Overwatch League next year, watch Contenders. Keep an eye out for these kids. They play extremely well. And there are some 15 and 16-year-olds in Contenders who are killing it they're not even going to be eligible for the league for another year or two, but they are ones to watch. So support your tier 2 Overwatch. Watch Contenders. If you're going through league withdrawal like I am, definitely watch Contenders. And we'll see what develops in the off season. We may have a few Overwatch Leagues and anime segments if there's anything particularly crazy that happens. We may have a few gaming segments because we also got a new character drop during the finals. We're going to have a brand new tank. His name is Ramatra. He is an Omnic. He's the leader of Null Sector, which is going to be fun and interesting. And yeah, he has 2 different forms he can swap between. And he was in the monastery with Zenyatta. So once again, we get Zenyatta lore hooked onto someone else's. But Ramatra so far, incredible voice, incredible art. Looks like he's going to be a lot of fun to play. So he's going to be part of the next Overwatch 2 Battle Pass, which starts on December 6th. So sign up for that one. Going to be fun. Yeah. Without Overwatch, what else is an anime? Contenders. We just talked about this. Overwatch Contenders. Guys, watch it. It's tier 2. It's fun. It's good. They do crazy things there. It's a blast.
Are you do you need a moment for a water break before now you have your unboxing too?
Yes. This episode is just a lot of Katie talking.
Yay. Well, you have your unboxing, which we'll get ready to. I think where are we? We're at the beginning of the month.
Yep.
September, October. Mine should be coming soon. But yay, we have the unboxing.
Have Sakura Co. This is going to be the final Sakura Co. unboxing for a while, if ever, because my subscription's running out. And the budget dictates certain things in this household, and that's one of them. So
Sakura Co., if you want to reach out.
Hey, Sakura Co., yeah.
We're here.
Let's talk. It's a good time. So we are back to our normal coloration, as you can see. We don't always get beautiful shiny boxes, but when we do, we appreciate them like they're shiny Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
As always, I always love
pretty card.
The art that they give us. The art is always absolutely beautiful. And as always, there's a lovely little message on the back.
Mm-hmm.
This is our October box. You're going, wait, it's the second week in November. This arrived the day after we pre-taped our Halloween show. So I've just been sitting with this box. I took a nice little look at it, but I have not been able to eat anything in it yet because I respect you guys. I want to do an unboxing for you. So this is me going, once I unbox this for you, I get to eat it. And I have been waiting. But the theme of this is Ibaraki Harvest. So again, we always have a booklet that tells you everything about what's in the box. It gives you the history of the region that the box is based around. It tells you some nice little stories. It tells you about the history of the snacks that are included in this box. It also gives you allergen information for every snack, which I think is fantastic. I love important that.
Yes.
And we have, it's been a minute since we looked, but we have Daifuku, I believe this is. I love Daifuku. You guys, these are so good. These are little teeny stuffed pastries.
Yummy.
They're so much fun.
Like they look like little donuts.
Yeah, we've got the big old rice crackers.
Yeah.
We have peach cookies. Hiding out in here. Let's see. There we go. We've got my light always makes this really interesting. We have peach cookies. We have, I believe.
They need to do the cheesy influencer thing and be like, here, I put the item up and like put my hand behind it.
And put my hand behind it. My hand is
sweet bean or red bean? No, not red bean. Sweet potato.
I think it's sweet potato, yeah. Because we're looking at harvest. It's been a hot second since I've looked through the booklet. I probably should have done that again. This is one of my favorite little things. It's a puffed rice. It's a puffed rice snack. Cute. There's puffed rice in here.
Very cute.
For the hella American version of this. For those who celebrate Easter, Reese's Pieces does little like orange carrots with just orange pieces in them. And I saw this and I went, oh, putting things in carrot shapes it's fun. It's just fun. So there's just puffed rice in here. It's a good time. We have, this is going to be a nice little stuffed bun in here. Oh, I love stuff like this. We are just doing stuffed buns for days. I believe this one is blueberry.
Mm.
And keep in mind that this is all tea service. There is hidden in here several packets of tea, and all of this is meant to be tea for two. This is why you see two of almost everything. There's enough snacks to split. They are meant to be a mixture of savory and sweet. Like, for example, we got little shrimp crackers up in here. If you're a shrimp cracker human, these are for you. And the fun part of this is that occasionally they will do mystery things. Usually it's mystery snacks. And when it comes to allergen information for mystery snacks, they have a QR code that you can scan. So it doesn't spoil what the snack is, but you can still get the allergen information if you need it, which I thought was brilliant the first time I saw it. We have mystery dishware this time around. So I know that I didn't get chopsticks. I think this is like a little plate up in here, but we're going to solve this mystery right now.
Yay!
I'm going to put this down. We're going to open this up and see what it is because I want to know. Little drum roll. Oh, yes. It's this little, it's a little yellow dish.
So cute.
With flower pattern in it.
Very cute.
It's got a little bronze edging. It is
like a sauce dish.
Adorable. It is. It's kind of like a little sauce dish. You can put all sorts of fun stuff in it. I actually have one of these already. So now I have a matching set.
Yay.
Which is so much fun.
Very cute.
I adore these. And then as always, we have, these are little strawberry filled cookies. They're like little thumbprint cookies.
Yum.
And as always, we have the jelly. I love the jellies. We are getting past the time where I would throw them in the fridge to make them cold. We are past the point where they are a little summer snack, but they are still a lovely little snack. I love these jellies. Nice. I mainline them. They're so good. Let me see if I can fit this. This is not packing it the way that it came in, but repacking these is always...
It's a fun challenge.
It's more of an art than a science. So I'm actually going to put it down here to see if I can't actually, figure out how this does and not put things at an angle. So you just get the ASMR of me shoving things in a box. And again, I'm looking forward to these. This entire box, I looked at it and then I had to put it away because I knew that I wouldn't be able to eat anything until after this evening. And now that this is done, this is my dinner. This is not my dinner. I can be a slightly more responsible adult than that. But
your dessert.
It's my dessert. There's going to be some fun and lovely things, and I am going to enjoy the hell out of them. But yes, thank you, Sakura Co. Thank you, Sakura Co. for these lovely, lovely boxes and these lovely, lovely tea services. They are so good. I enjoy them so much.
I'm just changing our little banner because I had it shorter before.
Oh, shit.
I had the abbreviation and it was bothering me. So
fair.
We have My Hero Academia, and then we will be talking Spy Family. So if you watch one or the other, we are talking about the sub episodes. We go all into details. So if you're not up to date with the anime, come back, and then if you're reading the manga, no spoilers, please, for us.
I have a few scattered manga spoilers without context, so mostly I just watch this and get afraid.
Yeah.
But this, we're doing double episodes because last week's was a pre-tape. I'm very glad that I watched these 2 episodes back to back.
Yes,
and didn't do one and then the other. Because
last time on My Hero Anxiety,
pretty much, this season continues to be one long anxiety attack.
I was sitting there
I was just curled up in my seat going, oh, I hate this. Oh no, it started for MHA keeps getting crazier. No, I knew this was called the war arc, but oh boy, oh buddy, oh boy. I don't like disaster movies. This is, I don't like movies where there's this awful thing coming and there's nothing you can do about it and the best you can do is survive. And then so many disaster movies take the bent of people are terrible and will screw each other over while a disaster is coming or in progress.
Which is zombie stuff too.
Zombie stuff too, but also it's the reason that I really, really hated the War of the World, the mid 2000s? Early 2000s?
The Tom Cruise one?
Yes. Hated that movie so much. But on the flip
It's a good
side,
book,
I
though.
like Independence Day because Independence Day is about people banding together and working together, and it's hilariously unrealistic and bonkers, but I love it so much because it's a disaster movie that's like, but what if people care?
Wait, say the name one more time again.
Independence Day,
Yes,
like
that is a good one.
1996.
So I was
With the
reading a
big,
comment, which I'll show you in a minute.
yeah.
No,
But
Independence Day is a very good one.
this first episode felt like a disaster movie.
Oh,
It's coming.
absolutely.
It's inevitable. You cannot get away. You cannot fight it. There's nothing you can do. Just run. And I'm
Yep.
sitting here going, this is the thing I hate. It's not a judgment call on the series. It's not a judgment call on this plot development. It is a thing that I personally do not handle well. And
Sure.
thank God we had some fighting back and some strategizing and some trying to figure things out. And maybe it isn't a total loss in this next episode. Because if it had just been the one and then I would have had to wait, it would have been bad. So
Yes.
we're verging into territory I have trouble with just as
That's
a
fair.
person, but
Yeah.
that doesn't make it bad.
Yes. We got the heroes are trying their darndest.
They are.
And Giga Derek, I'll get to you. Actually, I'll just do your comment now.
Just do it. Just do it. Hit me.
I put in a reminder on my phone for this joke. Hawks measured twice and cut once. It's late, but still, yes, that was
rude, funny,
Ooh,
rude.
ooh.
I love
Aw.
it.
Yes.
Oh, I love it so
So
much.
it's related, so we don't need to do a tangent for it. But funny thing you mentioned or interesting you mentioned disaster. I don't remember what year it was, but there was a panel at Anime Expo about like Japan and disasters and like essentially Godzilla. And because they have so many disasters, like that's how those kind of stories are born, because you have a creature that causes essentially the same thing. So I was thinking that while watching this, and I'm like, well, Japan, and unfortunately they're disasters that seem to happen relatively frequently. Or at least on catastrophic levels, you know. So it's just like it's an interesting part of culture that we just don't have that because we haven't had that same kind of, you know, tsunamis or earthquakes at that magnitude that consistently. So it was interesting to see it put in an anime that's a very, you know, adjacent parallel to a natural disaster. And yeah, same. I'm like, this just sucks. You got to run because like there's nothing you can do.
Yeah. And this might be a tangent corner. The OG Godzilla was actually subversive commentary. If you watch it, it kind of plays out a little bit like a horror movie. You see the effects of things, but you don't really see, because at the time, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember all of this, at the time, America was still occupying Japan and, you know, we're rebuilding, but it was also like imposing our own rules. And one of them was basically, you cannot talk about the nuclear incident. We did not allow Japan the catharsis to be able to discuss what had happened to them in a meaningful way. So that's what Godzilla is. It's about that for a reason. It's partially that catharsis. It's partially going, seriously, guys? No, we're going to talk about this and we are going to point fingers about what happened. So it gave us an incredible kaiju genre and all sorts of fun stuff down the line, but the OG Godzilla was very much part catharsis, part subversion, part like there was a ton of meaning to the original Godzilla.
Yes.
So this is something I'm not qualified to speak on. I'm only partially remembering what I've seen about this.
Yeah. Same with that panel. But it made an impression that I was like, I remembered it and it was cool. And but yeah.
I think I might have picked that up from an Overly Sarcastic Productions video, actually. That might be where that history lesson's from. Anyway.
But actually, speaking of that, and there's a kaiju awake here, too.
Oh, God. What's his name? Gigantomachia?
Yes.
Something Machia.
Okay, I was just looking at one, and I'm like, I don't like when Google does your autofill, because I saw something. I'm like, I don't want to say anything. But No. But I was just pulling up a name. Our other MVP of this episode is Takoyami. Because, oh my goodness, and Dark Shadow are
my God, yes,
child MVPs of like, they are like children.
Because of you, the boy is not dead. Congratulations. But the other like, yeah, Tokoyami, God
Well, when
bless,
he was
doing his best.
carrying Hawks and crying, and he's like, "It's okay, Hawks. Like, I know you did it." I'm just like, oh, there were so many moments where I'm just like, oh, my heart for these kids, like
Oh
they
yeah,
are children that we forget,
but also our ice villain popping up and having
Ooh,
a
ooh,
moment at that
yes.
exact moment is pretty much the
I
only reason they got away. Tokoyami was not going to win that fight.
For some reason, I'm like, oh, I don't know how he's there, but Todoroki showed up, and I'm like, nope, nope,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
nothing.
Because usually when you see a bunch of ice, it's like, oh yeah, that guy. It's like, no,
Yes.
no, not that guy.
Yep. And Mount Lady, which I enjoyed some of the strength and some of the humor with it, because it was like,
yeah.
and
I
yeah,
appreciated Cementos arming her and her
yes.
just going
Oh,
nuts.
that was so cool.
That
That was
was
another
fun.
good. I like seeing the different quirks working together.
Yeah.
So I appreciated that.
Like, we don't always get to see pro heroes doing teamwork. It's very much
No.
emphasized with the kids, with our students, because that's what they need to learn. And that's what they're focusing on for some of these exams. But we don't always get to see pro heroes doing it. So,
No.
as anxiety inducing as this is, watching these heroes roll out on a massive scale and know what the others are capable of and how they can rely on them and what their limits are, because we also have Aizawa trying to, keep people's quirks at bay, and just our little water hero keeping his eyes moisturized so he can keep doing it. Just like, that is incredible. It's just this little
So randomly
teeny detail.
specific.
You don't really think about it, but then you're like,
Yep.
I bet they practice this. I
Right.
bet they practice this. And that's specifically why this particular guy is here. Because I don't even remember his name, but he's the one
but he
that
was with the Orca
he's the one that
guy.
Ida did his internship with.
Yep.
Yeah, back in season 2. But it's specifically like, you're here because you can do this with this hero. You guys have practiced this, and just watching this happen is like, no, this is amazing. This is great.
And Gran Torino also gets MVP too, of swooping in
God.
literally and saving people.
Oh my God.
Nick of time, because how much of we knew our hero boys were not dead, but how much of a panic moment did you have of going, I had what am I watching right now? Because like, this can't be happening right now. But
I'm just having this moment of like, I can see the future. Like, this is one of those, here is a thing that could happen, is probably going to happen if someone doesn't step in. Oh, thank God someone stepped in.
Yes.
Gran Torino out here having all of the pieces and being able to put them together well enough to know what exactly is happening.
Yeah.
I mean, we call them problem kids, but like, I don't think so in this episode, because it's Deku knowing over the comms.
Oh, he was smart.
Yeah, like hearing Endeavor repeat, all for one? What? Knowing over the comms, like, it's Shigaraki. He's coming for me. I need to get out of here because I'm where all the civilians and all of my friends are. I need to go and lure him away so he doesn't murder everyone. And Bakugo.
And Mr. A-hole Bakugo. I was kind of glad. I'm like,
really smart.
Yeah.
Like, we sit here and go, yeah, he's a total asshole, but he's really smart. Like, we can't forget that. This kid is intelligent and has combat instincts, and they've made it
even if he's an
very
asshole, he's
clear.
Loyal. He is very loyal.
Oh, yeah.
He will be there.
So him also putting it together in that moment and going, I'm not letting him run off and do this alone. That's insane.
He's like, you're going to go do this by yourself? No. Yeah.
Because Deku at least had the forewarning of the original wielder in his head going, something's coming and it's bad. Like, it needs to be stopped. It's bad. Yep. So he already had a little bit of forewarning, whereas Bakugo just heard that, saw his expression, and went, okay, he's going to do this. I'm going with him.
Yep.
And also because he wants revenge, because there's still that blaming himself for that night. Just, man. But the crack about, do you think you're the main character? And I'm like, oh God, he's seeing through the fourth wall. Oh no.
Charles says Bakugo top 3 in the grades in their class, so very high IQ. Yeah. But I would say there's a difference between being smart and being intelligent, though, too. Because you could be like academically smart, but situation smart, you could be like you're not putting the situation together. So I appreciate that he is like street smart, if you will, of, okay, this is what's happening. We need to do something. And then also he suggests like we should say something so we could get more protection for Deku. And Deku's like, no, it's okay. We don't need to tell everybody.
It's fine. Just
and I did love him telling
for D&D. The scores are intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. And it's described as like it's book smarts, street smarts, and people smarts. Intelligence is knowing that a tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is knowing not to put it in a fruit salad. And charisma is selling someone your salsa. So
yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
Yeah, he's got a high intelligence score, but also a high wisdom score. And charisma is his dump stat.
Yes.
Thanks, Bakugo. But yeah, he's got both going on. And again, also he has really good combat instincts and ability to adapt. And that's not always something that can be taught.
No. Also, I love the moment of telling Endeavor, well, why are they chasing you? We'll talk about that later.
It's not important right now. What's important
I said to the screen, I'm all, later. It's not important. And then literally the next subtitle is like, I'll tell you later. I'm like, thank you.
Why is he chasing you? Not important.
Doesn't matter right now.
And then Shigaraki taking out Calms. This part of this might be feeding into me going, this is a disaster movie now and I don't handle those well. I don't like it when villains are broken. And I mean like, not like psychologically broken, like video game broken. The no longer follows the rules, too good, broken. The nerf please, broken. And I think at this point, Shigaraki is broken. I know we've set him up as our brand new villain now that All For One is mostly out of the picture. But the fact that we're dealing with multiple quirks now, we're dealing with this
unlimited,
with this horrifyingly overpowered original quirk, really overpowered decay quirk, and also just the ridiculous strength and ability to move in the air and whatnot. Oh, that's not quirks, that's just him. It's like, okay, that's too much. That's not fair. You've put too many things into your original character. I need you to scale it back so it's believable. Yeah. Again, which is where we go from villain to walking natural disaster. So I get that this may be what we need right now, but just from where we're standing, it's also like, oh, come on. So we'll see. Aizawa can still knock him down multiple pegs, which is great.
Oh, that was so nice.
But I also worry about Aizawa a lot.
Oh my gosh. When they were exiting, same thing. I'm like, he's probably not going to die yet, kind of a thing. But, like when they're fleeing on the underground, and his, rope thing starts to break. I'm like, no! And how the other hero died saving him. I was like, yes, My Hero anxiety for sure.
I got the best and worst spoiler for that because I hadn't watched the episode yet.
Okay.
And I follow the official My Hero Academia Twitter.
Yes.
And they posted that screenshot of him with the thumbs up while he's crumbling with the caption, "Crust doesn't feel so good." And I'm like, how dare you make an Endgame reference? That was amazing. How dare you?
Giga Derek's ashes to ashes, crust to crust.
And Giga Derek's killing it tonight. Again, rude. Funny. Rude. But again, I got spoiled for that particular death by the Twitter making an honestly very astute reference. Just like, he doesn't feel so good. And I'm like, I hate you and you're amazing.
Yes. Charles in the chat says, that makes the Gran Torino last line of the episode hit hard. If all those heroes can't stop one man, then what's the point of their entire society being so focused on heroes? Yeah.
I mean, that's a fair point, but I also want to scale it back and go, this is unfair, though. He didn't show up and have this. This was
engineered.
Yes, this was engineered. This isn't just like stopping someone in the wild. Yeah. This isn't just, all right, well, we need to get a hold of him before all this happens. Like, it's not earlier season Shigaraki where like he's believable. He's inexperienced. He's got a very dangerous quirk, but like
expanding powers, I was on board, but now it really is well, shit. What are they gonna do now?
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay, come on,
Uh,
just stop. I
yeah,
don't. Mm.
that's fair.
So again, we'll see how they handle it. We'll see what
Yep.
happens because the other part of it is like the manga's still going on. We know that this arc isn't the end, but it's also so how are we getting out of this exactly right now?
Mm-hmm.
Like how?
And then that's made point. Charles says, luckily Shigi only got 75% in that machine. Imagine if it was at 100. Yeah.
And he's also got a couple of those quirk stealing bullets that are still there.
Yeah.
Most of them got wrecked in that machine, but a few were still intact.
Yeah. We didn't see him grab the intact
We saw
one,
him.
so.
We
He
did. We
grabbed-
saw him put him in his pocket.
Oh yeah, because that was the other scene later. We didn't see it in that one, but they changed it later.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's just like, okay, thanks. I hate it.
yes.
I just hate it.
I know
don't
there's
actually
other-
hate it. I don't
Yes.
actually hate it. Thanks, I hate it is joking. It is
Yeah.
things I feel the need to say just in case someone gets that and goes, "Oh my god, you hate it?" No. Thanks, I hate it is, oh boy. Oh, yikes.
Yeah, and then Gigadare points out, yeah, he's like All Might now in a way, and that's true. And yeah, not as strong as All Might, but close. Yep. As they comment on that.
Different flavor of broken.
Yes.
But yeah, Gran Torino for MVP here, just being able to put things together,
like,
keep his fellow heroes alive, keep the kids alive. Basically, just like, what if I just keep everyone alive right now? What if I have lived long enough to see multiple generations of users and this worst case scenario?
Yeah.
Oof.
So obviously there are other exciting things that happened in this episode. Let us know what stood out to you. Leave comments down below.
Toga going nuts.
Yes.
Toga just going complete berserker rage like that. Ooh, rough one. Ooh. But like I get it.
Same. I'm like, I get it, but yep. But yeah, let us know what other moments in those episodes stood out to you. And now we have the chaser because that is so much. We need something a little lighter. So we have our spy family, though some of that gets a little exciting of like, nothing nearly as stressful though.
Oh yeah, no, we've finished the bomb dogs plot and now it's just like, the manga's like, we're just going to spend some time with one-off chapters and just have fun with those. And the anime is going, all right, we're just going to adapt a bunch of one-off chapters then. That's cool. Yes. I wasn't expecting a chapter adaptation to be an entire post-credits scene. That was that was a weird one.
Make sure y'all didn't miss that one.
Yeah. Like, I get why they did it because it was so short, but also like... I have to appreciate that it's, oh, why you look pretty rough. What happened? I stayed up for 4 days straight and then I got hit by a truck. Well, be a little more careful. No. Like, okay.
Well, because he was also raised on yours food, so okay, and that's a gag.
Enthusiastic.
That's a gag that I'm not a fan of now, is the barf. It's amazing. Like that recycling. I'm like, okay, like,
are we done?
I'm over it. It was the one episode I was okay, and then it coming back, I'm like, just because, like, thinking of that too literally, I'm like, no.
That's imitophobia. So, we're not here for that. I don't
like it.
Yikes.
But besides that, I'm okay with the joke that her cooking's bad. Like, fine, she doesn't understand cooking, but like,
I love when the follow-up is just people passed out.
Yeah, Bond is like.
eating the snacks off the floor and then just like, I love that is a joke I love.
That I'm okay with. I like that Anya actually studied finally because I want her to do good in school. Like, come on.
And like, we have to keep in mind that she's probably 1 to 2 years younger than all of the kids in her class.
Yeah, so
like,
they said
she's
first
smaller.
grade. So I'm like, okay, yes, thank you for the reminder.
Yeah, but she's smaller. She flubs her words. Like, it hasn't been said, but the indication is that is that she is younger. And a year makes a ton of difference developmentally. at
Mhm.
that age.
Yes.
And when you were born, etc., really affects how you do in those early years of school, whether you get held back a year to give your motor functions time to develop. Like
Mhm.
it's like, boy, that sounds weird. No, I know someone that happened to. But it's one of those things where Anya, despite her mind reading powers, or possibly because of them, is working at a severe disadvantage here. And the mind reading will only get you so far, especially when it doesn't work, or like
Yeah, apparently I
when,
like to know the limitations though. I'm like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
okay.
Or like when Twilight is
Oh.
helping her study and she's getting distracted by his thoughts. Happen to
Mhm.
you too? Yeah, it's a thing.
Grade change.
And
Mhm.
also, like, whether or not you'll get into specific sports is very much dictated by when you were born, because then
Yep.
that becomes how old are you, how big are
Yep.
you when the season starts. So evidently it's like a really big hockey thing. Like hockey players are generally born in like spring. I
Hmm.
probably have the season wrong, but it's like a known phenomenon in hockey.
Huh.
Yeah, no, it's wild. So
Charles
just
says Yuri is definitely one of the weaker parts of the story. I don't dislike him, and I did appreciate him being gross creeper about his sister, and then Anya like, ooh, I have heartburn from that. And like I have indigestion from reading that mind because she doesn't understand what that all means. So I kind of like that the show called it out a little bit because it is one of
Anya
those.
just like, oh yikes, I hate that.
I'm leaving.
I like him as a side character. I like him as a
Yeah.
gag, and I like bringing back around, like, they knew that Twilight was pretending to be the minister at that point.
Yes.
It was way too big a risk to take, but we
Yep.
had to.
Yep.
So just that sort of, like, and Anya just like, spy versus secret police. And then Twilight
That
leaves,
was
and
cute.
she's like, but what about the showdown? She's like, my entertainment.
I appreciate that. That was funny.
And the advice
Oh,
about looking
yeah.
forward and going, don't think about the next test, think about your goals, think about what you want
It
to
was
see,
good
what you want to be.
advice.
It really is. And then just world domination. You want to do world domination?
Sure. Okay, kid. Okay, our other fun person in this episode's Becky.
Daybreak. Oh,
I was like, Becky was so funny of like, don't you know about relationships? And your dad is hot. I was like, oh no.
your dad is
This
hot
is
is one of the funniest. Is he seeing anyone? Yes, my mother.
I was
Mom and
like,
dad are married.
wow. And how when she notices Anya's kind of pseudo-ish, but not really flirting with Damien, or at least Becky's like, oh, okay. Like I just thought
I
Becky
get
was
that
so
now.
funny.
Oh, Becky's great.
It was great. Oh, this was
Becky's
also a
on
great
it.
joke. No leash is power.
No
No
leash.
leash.
No leash is power, yeah.
Which I'm like, in a way that does work too. Like you're not restrained.
I
I
keep
know she
thinking of
interpreted it
the
wrong, but
yeah.
yeah.
No, I keep thinking of the knowledge is power, France is bacon story. And that's at Google France is bacon, like 3
Okay.
words, and it'll come up. It's a fun little Tumblr story. But about mishearing things.
Okay.
But yeah, I loved this. My favorite part of all of this was the second part of our second episode with Daybreak.
Oh my gosh. I was with Twilight and
Amazing.
going, no.
What are you doing? What are you doing? The fact that that he actually lost his composure at the end there was just like, hey, even Twilight has his limits.
Yes. It's like,
But
That
my
was very
favorite
amusing.
part of this, I was watching this with my roommate, and we had to pause it and rewind it to watch this part
Yeah.
again because it was amazing, is Twilight thinking about like, okay, I need to go in and change these grades. And just that little bit of him thinking of Anya and like her eyes are pointing in different directions and she's like, I have this, Daddy. Just the mental image. Absolutely lost my mind. It's just this perfect combination of the animation and that little like pan flute going sharp and the delivery.
Oh, all of Anya's
I
envisions
howled.
of what people are like were hilarious too.
Oh
Like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
how
Just
she
he
sees
never
herself.
said this. This never happened.
Uh,
But just and
Oh.
I do appreciate.
Interesting. Charles says, fun fact, Daybreak has the same Japanese voice as Hawks from My Hero Academia.
Well, one
Interesting.
of them is a competent spy,
Yes.
and the other one's Daybreak.
Yes.
But I love the someone hired a spy to go against Damien's family and try to
That was
sabotage the kids.
interesting. Mm-hmm.
And Twilight fixing things like, I can't afford for them to be expelled. I
No.
have to get into this. But also letting Anya keep the scores that she earned, like
Yep.
double checking that she did not fail thing. Like she didn't do well, but she did well enough not to earn any Tonitrus bolts.
Yes.
And so him just going, oh, okay, she actually did okay. I'm not going to change anything.
Yep.
And that is actual, dare I say it, good parenting.
I think
there's
it's a
this-
good lesson of like, okay, let's learn from the mistakes, you know.
And
Yeah.
there's the temptation to make the scores better so that she
Mhm.
looks better. You know, it's a little unbelievable for her to be winning Stella in academics, but
Yeah, not
there's
yet.
that temptation to at least do better. But the idea of, no, this is the effort she put in, these are the scores that she earned, and being able to leave it there instead of trying to improve things even just a little bit, like that's actually solid parenting.
Also,
Like every time they parent good in this show, we got to point it out because usually they're not good at this, but they're doing their best. This was actually good, despite being in a scenario where he was going to change her grades anyway. The fact that she avoided the worst possible scenario on her own, so he didn't have to do that
Mhm.
and just, okay, well, you didn't fail, so I'm leaving things where they are. Like actual good parenting. Things that a lot of helicopter parents are really fucking bad at nowadays.
Yes. Oh, and that was cute. Yes, you're saying that, well, if you add all the scores together, it'd be over 100.
You're trying very hard.
You know, you gotta try. The substitute professor guy, I'm like, he's not the headmaster, but him, Mr. Elegant. I liked him stepping in of, hey, Damien, that wasn't rather gentlemanly, was it? I'm like, thank you. He is yelling at the other children. He is being an ass. You need to call them out on that. And Anya making her cute little messed up thing of, yes, she has other alternatives or motivations to help.
Yeah.
But the fact that it won, because they interpret it, this is a symbol of, you know, struggling and that it's war and they're going on. It's the baby one.
The fact that it's able to look so regal even after being so hurt, and the idea that our country can recover, and then the corpse of the dear baby Gryffindor. It's just like, oh my god.
That's one of those like, oh, if you've ever had one of those art projects, let us know where you did something you thought it was shite, and then somebody else is like, this is amazing. And you're like, yes.
Art is subjective.
It is.
Art is,
It
for
is.
better or for worse, art is subjective.
Yeah.
So it was amazing. It was so funny. And then we get a look into Damien's home life. And that he really is like continually being called second son is probably not great for his self-esteem.
No.
Because he's made it very clear, like, yeah, like my dad doesn't care about me. The butler is lying about whether he said anything. And we've been making jokes now about dad being lobotomized because he's got twin pairs of stitches around his head. Like, I don't know if anyone else noticed that in the character design, but he's got like the stitches on the side, on both sides of his head in their uniform. And so it's just like, I'm sure it's just a character design thing. But it was definitely one of those, what happened to you exactly? It's like, it's one thing if it's like a line of stitches, okay, scar. But like the fact that they're uniform and on both sides, and then he's kind of that like sunken eyed and the long face. It's just like, this is very Karloff of you. This is very Boris Karloff as Frankenstein. Like, are you okay? You're a high-ranking government official and you've got weird head stitches. Are you okay? So...
The other big thing in these episodes was the handler and how she communicates with Twilight. That was really cool, and how she's being followed, but she's able to get away from that, which is just kind of cool to learn a little bit more about her in that way.
It's just one of those little one-off chapters where you're like, okay, this is fun. And then kind of how they see each other, like, I can't
Mhm.
tell her that her new coat still has the price tag on it. And Twilight giving a status report on Anya and her going, what the hell is he
She's
talking
like,
about?
okay, that's
What
nice.
is that? What is that? Why?
Yep. Full Metal Lady.
Sure. Yep.
That's quite the name. I appreciate that. And I feel, and anything else we didn't get to in that, let us know. Oh, yes, I appreciated she's bleep years old.
Yes. Just like, she was
nice.
old enough at one point to have a kid, if that was the truth in previous
Well, that
episodes.
doesn't say a lot, but I feel she's close or a little older than Twilight because she's gone through similar experiences, but does seem to be she was maybe older when that event happened.
Yeah.
That's
Like
my
she
guess.
again, this is one of those things that they really, really hit home with in the Bomb Dog episodes, is they made it very clear, like, these students who want another war did not live through the previous war, were not born when it was a thing, or were very young when it was a thing, did not experience it. And the only flashback we have from Twilight is of him as a child walking through bombed out streets and crying. So, like, this is like, I don't know if Handler lost her daughter in the war. We don't know that. To me, that was the implication, was that she was old enough to have this
Maybe.
child during the war and that didn't survive.
Charles
But
says
yeah,
Twilight's probably late 20s, Handler's like late 30s. I was kind of
possibly,
getting
yeah.
maybe that
Yeah.
ish.
So just the difference between the experience of people who have lived through this war and who lived through that war and the people who did not was very stark. So this is very much a comedy. But again, when it pulls back the curtain a little bit, or occasionally when it yanks it back and goes, look, it's it gets pretty real. And it handles the moments when it gets real extremely well. And I am both looking forward to and dreading the moments where it does that for Anya's backstory. I don't know if they exist. I don't know if they've happened in the manga. I've heard that maybe we've gotten some Twilight backstory in the manga at some point. I don't know. But like, the moments when we get into what happened to Anya, if we ever get into that, those are going to be amazing and heartbreaking. Because we've seen this show stick the landing on super dark material. So, like, hey, we talked a lot about war and the awful effects of war. What if we also talk about child experimentation, which is definitely a thing in this show? We just haven't really gone into it, aside from the fact that this child has psychic powers and hates studying. So it's like, it's going to be great. It's going to be terrible. I'm going to cry. I don't even know if it's a thing in the manga yet, but like, that's one of those I could see the future moments.
No spoilers, Charles says, but next episode should be the last one-off chapter style episode, and then we'll get into another longer arc. All right.
Hell yeah, let's go. I'm hoping that they will be able to fit that longer arc in there. Or if we're just going to get like, I don't know how many more we're going to get, because we had 12 episodes in the first half. And we've had like 6 so far. It came back, even at 6. It came back early October.
Yeah.
So we had 4 or 5, 5-ish.
Maybe.
We've had a few. So I'm hoping that it's we're able to wrap the arc and not, so we're just going to leave it hanging. See you next season.
Right.
Like, if we get one. I would imagine we're going to get one. This anime is doing gangbusters. But like, guys. I never like to be like, sure, we're getting one, because that's when I get kicked in the face. So,
well, while we wait for that one, which we're not there yet, Eve, obviously, we should tell you about other things you should be checking out.
You go first.
Yes. What was I watching? I just started. Oh, I don't know if I mentioned it before, but I did start the new American Horror Story season 11. It is, depending where it goes, will kind of depend how much I like it, because it's one of those, they're introducing that weird shit's going on, which I'm like, cool. I want like supernatural stuff more. Like, I like the seasons where they have more besides real world stuff. It is, I mean, it's one of those, if you've never watched it, it's definitely, it's very rated R. So just heads up. But so far I like it, and we'll see where it goes. And what else was I watching? I was like, what did I watch recently? There it is.
So many things.
I know all the things I write down. Oh, you know what? One of those, don't hate me, but I rewatched Practical Magic for Halloween, and I was a little underwhelmed, I must say. I remember watching it I watched it a long time ago, and I remember I was like, yeah, cool, it's fun. And I watched it with a friend, and I was telling her, I'm like, hey, we should watch this now, and she didn't like it at all. It was a little just underwhelming. I think for its time, it was probably pretty exciting to have a mainstream movie with big lead actors, have witchcraft as a big plot line. But as a movie, it's one of those like, it was solid, but I don't know. Again, don't hate me, because I know a lot of people love that movie, but it's one of those like, I didn't dislike it, but I don't know. Sometimes let us know what have you rewatched where you either it exceeded your expectation when you rewatch it, or it was like, oh, well, obviously there was a lot of the AIF stuff, which I was like, have we talked about that since then? Oni Thunder God's Tale, absolutely go watch that on Netflix, 100%. It's amazing. Loved it. My Father's Dragon is also cute. I think that's on Netflix. Coming to Netflix soon is Oink, and that was a stop motion one. It's from, I want to say it was like the Netherlands, which that one's cute, because that one they said it's coming to Amazon. I think that's kind of it on the main things I watched.
One Piece Red is out in theaters.
Yes, One Piece Red, if you haven't seen that, is really cool. My quick thought on that too is you do not need to be up to date with the show. You probably don't even have to watch a single episode, which is me. I've only seen one or two of the films, and you can still totally enjoy it. So, bring your friends who've never seen One Piece. This could be a good, here, check out this title, this property. And if you're a fan, it's really cool. It is very music driven. So just know that going in, because I know some people are like, wow, that was a lot of music. And I'm like, yes, but it was really cool.
That's the point. It's about an idol.
Yes, which also, I was going to say, I'm like, checking out the comments real quick. One other thing about it is, fun fact, the songs are all done by different composers.
Oh, wow.
Thus, I was like, I thought they all sound really unique and different. Same singer, but it's just different composer, which kind of adds to how they're all different styles.
The last time I watched One Piece when it was music heavy, I was on the floor crying while they sang Bink Sake. So it's been a minute for me.
I'd say
it's been a minute.
Look at the chat. We got Gigadar said, if I may, I'd like to recommend Trapped in a Dating Sim, similar to the villainous show, but the main character is the best worst thing. Okay. I'm sad to hear this one, because I never got around to watching it. Eureka 7 gets a bit worse every time I watch it. Oh, that was one that I knew about and I haven't gotten to it. But
I mean, sometimes you watch something and it's not great, but you enjoy it every single time.
Or there's other ones that it was just more funny because you were hearing the joke the first time when you saw it.
So I was going to segue into Vandred's a weird one, but you should consume it. Are you good?
Yeah, that was my recommendations. Your turn.
Most of what I watched this past week was Overwatch. Not gonna lie, it was 7 or 8 hours a day, starting at 2:30 p.m. and it just
made
put it on.
Little Overwatch heart happy.
Oh my god, yeah, some of it did, and some of it was just no. So again, I pulled the Gladiators to win it all, and that super didn't happen. So my bracket just right from the get-go. It was amazing. I figured out all the plans, and then after that, it was like, nope, none of this. But it was still a lot of fun. I mentioned Vandred. It's a very weird anime from the early 2000s that took the idea of men and women being from different planets to a completely bizarre extreme. It's in the future. Humans have colonized space because Earth was a train wreck, and men and women live on different planets. And it's one of those, we start on the men's planet, which is it's either an MRA paradise or an MRA nightmare, depending on how you look at it. And they think they're like, women are monsters, women are pirates, women eat men. And then a ship of women pirates attacks them, steals some of their mechs, and then because of experimental technology and shit going down, gets thrown halfway across the galaxy. So it's this ship full of women and 3 men, all of whom are very different people, trying to figure out how the other works, how to get home, how to work together. It turns out that their two very different sets of mechs actually can combine in different ways. So it's uh, it's CGI for the mech and the alien fighting scenes, because it also turns out there are aliens after them and they don't know why or for what purpose. No one
Yeah.
has ever seen these things before. What is happening? Um, Vandred is one of those really weird shows where, for one, the CGI doesn't quite hold up, but it
Mm,
works because they only use it for the mechs and the aliens. So, like, you can tell that it's early 2000s CGI, but
it's
it's not
like
distracting.
kind of trying to show a
Kind of,
picture of
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, like that
I was
idea.
like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Vandred is very good if you ignore the two main characters.
Okay.
This is the weird philosophy on this show, is that our shonen protagonist seems like he's been pulled from a different anime entirely, because he has these attitudes about women that work for your bog standard shonen protagonist, but don't work for the world that they've
Mm,
built. Because
yeah.
ostensibly he's never actually seen a woman before in his life, and he's been raised on a
Mm,
planet where they're seen as monsters. So why does he think that they're incapable in combat and he needs to protect them? Like,
mm,
and unfortunately the main girl who follows him around, her personality kind of revolves around him a little bit, and because he is such a loser, it brings her down, and everyone else is
mm.
amazing. This is canon lesbians. This is it's a little weird on the trans rep in places. It's again, it's early 2000s. I'm
Hmm.
not going to stand here and say it's good because I'm not a good judge of that, but it's also kind of like, you know,
Yeah.
it's not bad.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting show with some very interesting things to say about recognizing the culture you're brought up in and how it shaped you and how other viewpoints are
Mm,
important, growing as a person, figuring out
hmm.
where your loyalties lie and whether it's worth it to keep the old ones in the face of the new ones. Like, it has a lot of very interesting things to say, but part of the problem is our main character is, one, from another anime, and two, like, it's baby's first theory of knowledge class or baby's first self-actualization class. So like his
Mm.
entire character arc is just frustrating. It's just frustrating. It's like, yes, that's very interesting. You're trying to figure out who you are. Can we get back to the guy who's a self-styled playboy and is actually having his first big experience with truly caring about something and grief? Can we get back to that? Because that's interesting. Um, so yeah, Vandred is weird. I love it, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's the best thing ever. You really do need to go in understanding that it is an anime from the early 2000s with some kind of weird preconceptions on gender roles that it doesn't always explore well. But
Mm.
my God, every character except for our main two are so goddamn interesting. And it's a pretty solid dub, especially for being early 2000s. Like, we hit
Nice.
our stride. It's fun. So, yeah, Vandred has, a list of asterisks about a mile long behind it with this recommendation. But it's fun. It's a good time. Things with slightly fewer asterisks behind them, and my good old YouTube channels that are my standbys. I mentioned Overly Sarcastic Productions earlier. Absolutely watch them. They are half history channel, half literature channel,
Hmm.
all amazing. It's helmed by two people who go by Red and Blue. Blue is our history buff. He's very, very fond of Italian architecture and politics, but he goes into all sorts of stuff. Everything's very well researched, very funny, but also very informative. And Red is our literature buff. We have recaps of Shakespearean plays. We have recaps of, like, retellings of myths, older stories, Greek plays. And we also have what are called trope talks, where she does deep dives into specific tropes, anti-heroes, post-apocalyptic stories, things like that. Lampshading is another one. There's, God, she's probably done like 50 to 100 of them. There's a lot. And they're very interesting, informative talks about these tropes and how they came about and how they've evolved and how they're used, when they're used well, when they're used poorly, examples in media. Again, we were talking about Godzilla. I'm pretty sure I got that information about Godzilla from her trope talk on kaiju. How it started, where it came from, how it's used today, the different things that it could mean, and when sometimes you just want giant monsters to fight. So the YouTube channel is Overly Sarcastic Productions. There is no bad place to start. Just pick a video, pick something that interests you, and go. They're all super fun watches. They're so good.
Nice.
And then if you just want ridiculous entertainment, Sword Art Online Abridged. I know it's a little contentious what your opinion on Sword Art Online might be. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I've done extensive coverage of the earlier seasons, but it's not my favorite anime. I do enjoy Sword Art Online Abridged a lot. If you've never watched an abridged series, it is a shorter, usually comedic retelling of a series. SAO Abridged advantage is that it's made by more than just one person. A one-person abridged series is always a little tougher, and that it's a later abridged series. So the evolution of the art form, it bypassed the awkward teenage years that abridged series had and came out swinging. It is currently about 2/3 of the way through the Alfheim arc, and it's been a comedic retelling of it. It kind of rethinks the characters a little bit, but it also leans into here's some of the potential for the storytelling that was there that the show didn't quite reach. Because, again, this is based on one of Reki Kawahara's earlier light novels, and it is some of his oldest writing. And for anyone who's written stuff, you know that your oldest writing is maybe something you don't want the public to see. So, like, yeah, SAO has problems, but also inexperienced writer, oldest writing, we're not going to like run that into the ground. Yes, Giga Derek knows what I'm talking about. The Kirito is Always Right Foundation came from the abridged series. There's a number of things from the abridged series that just live in my mind that I quote all the time. It's very funny, but it's also extremely heartfelt. This is a show that has made me cry. I did not cry over OG SAO until we hit the Mother's Rosario arc. This is a show that made me cry at the end of the original arc. Like, SAO Abridged is made by people who presumably like SAO because it's one of those parodies with affection, but also very much understands how the genre works, how people tick, how to tell a good story, how to take something you've been given and build on it. SAO Abridged is phenomenal. I recommend it if you love SAO. I recommend it if you don't care for SAO. I recommend it if you've never seen SAO. It hits all of those. It's very, very good. Take it and run. Enjoy the hell out of it. Maybe don't watch it at work because the language has a lot of swearing in it. But, like, I love SAO Abridged, you guys. It is incredible.
Well, speaking of that, now we've come to the end of our super juicy episode because we had all those episodes to catch up. I'm like, Katie, I love you, but I'm like, we need to wrap. But we had, 2 episodes for Spy Family and 2 episodes for My Hero to bring to all of you to catch back up on everything. So again, go check out our Halloween episode if you missed it. And yes, Overwatch finale. And like I said, check the description down below for the Animation is Film Festival stuff, which Katie, here we go. We'll plug all that as well, where they find you.
Yes, you can follow me all over the social medias as well as on YouTube and Twitch at Kiaxet. That is Kiaxet. If you like reaction videos, if you like me, if you like to hear me talk a lot, I hope you do because my God, I took over this episode. It's all on that YouTube channel. I am also half of a channel called Silver Screams. That is Silver_Screams on the social medias and Silver Screams on YouTube. We talk about horror things. It's me and my roommate. We have a very good time. Our most recent long form thing was an in-depth conversation about Nope, which is a very good time. And the most recent trailer reactions have been amazing. Again, if you would like to see me transcend reality for 14 minutes straight, the Megan trailer reaction is a very fun time.
Nice.
Oh my God.
Yes. And y'all can find me. There we go. Yes. Carrie D. Lane online everywhere. And like I said earlier, you can see both Katie and I in the Animations Film Festival playlist on the Fanversation channel. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, check out the videos in that playlist as well as a bunch of One Piece. I put them all together that way. So if you're a One Piece fan or you have a friend who's a One Piece fan, be like, here, check out this playlist. So check all of that out. And thank you again to Crunchyroll and Toei. That was really fun talking with the actors and the ADR director who was at the premiere. And so, yeah, that's all available now. And I think that's the most exciting, pretty biggest part yet. So, check that out.
Yeah.
Yes. And thank
Pretty
you.
big stuff.
You know, it's a thing. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll be seeing you next week. Take care and have a good one. All right.
Stay safe out there.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.